see where this goes. So, yeah. And it went.
Andor is a title for indecisive people and or people that don't know what they want.
Andor is a prequel to Rogue One, which is a prequel to Star Wars.
Andor had me seeing yellow everywhere.
Take your time, Darth.
Andor.
Focus.
God, you guys really nailed it. I don't know. Andor is a further dive into the Star Wars world on television. Whatever you call streaming.
Worth the wait. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, the podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to.
But you still can.
Mm-hmm. Everybody, you may have guessed, we are doing Andor on Disney+. The first episode is called Casa, and we have very special guests today. Of course, we have a 3-time Emmy nominee, 1-time Emmy winner. It is meteorologist Katie Nickolaou.
Hello.
We also have 0-time Emmy nominee. No, just kidding. Well, that's all of us. No. We have funny man, comedian, and actor Darth F.S. Schuhe.
Heyo.
Wearing his Monster Maroon shirt. And of course, you know him from Duke University. You know him as that science advisor for Star Trek, or from BioTrekkie or Fallingtower. It's Dr. Muhammad Noor.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be on Fallingtower's Watch the First of Things.
And my name is Ryan T. Husk. You know me as the only guy that wears Rammstein shirts for some reason. It's glow in the dark.
There's some guys in Germany wearing them right now.
Probably. All right.
You aren't utilizing a glow-in-the-dark shirt to the fullest unless you have a blacklight flashlight. That thing charges
No blacklight flashlights in my room, please.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start here. All right. Anyway, so of course, if you'd like us to review a show, in the comments below, tell us what show you'd like us to review and tell us where we can find it. Like you would have said, WTF, that means watch the first, Andor, and say Disney Plus right after that. This is kicking off Fantasy Month. So if you want us to review a fantasy show, in the comments below, please make that suggestion. Star Wars is a science fantasy. That's how we could slip it in just in time for May the 4th.
Woo.
What timing, everybody. All right, let's just go ahead, get into it. Have a lot of fun. Muhammad's going like this because he knows it's his favorite segment or mine.
My second favorite. My second favorite is Predictaments, where we predict what each other thought of this show after seeing it.
Mm-hmm. It's time to make some predictions here. Mm-hmm. Muhammad, I'm going to start with you. I think you liked it. Okay. I don't think you were very high on it. In fact, I think you were just barely on the plus spectrum on this. I think you appreciated it. I think you may have seen it before, but I'm not sure. You're pretty up to date in the new It shows, and this is an It show because it's freaking Star Wars, which is one of the greatest franchises in the history of things a long time ago. Katie, I think you're about the same. You're like, hey, give me something nerdy that's not horrible, and I'm all for it. I'm your gal. So I think you liked it. I think you're going to be like, medium well on it. Wow. Good poker face. And Darth, I predict, Darth, that you are going to be very fussy about this show because you are very fussy about this show in our kitchen lately.
So I think insider knowledge there. Dang.
I think he said something to the effect of he fell asleep trying to watch it 3 times because they kept having an entire scene where they were talking a different language and didn't have subtitles, if I remember correctly, which I may not be. So those are my predictions.
Not denying it.
I don't think that first episode changed since the last time you tried to watch it. Those are my predictions. What do you think, Muhammad?
I can't remember if there was a scene like that. I don't remember that. So Ryan, this one's a really hard one to predict. Ryan, I think you're going to come in right around the middle. I think you like that there's setup. I think you like the universe, but I think you would have found this particular episode a little bit wanting. Darth, I think you're going to be, well, I mean, we got an inside review there. I think you're not going to be that positive about it.
Now, remember, Darth is the biggest Star Wars fan I know, and he was named after Darth Vader. So
yeah. So, generally speaking, big Star Wars fans hate Star Wars, so that also
that's exactly it.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Katie, you're a very hard one on this one. You're very you're a energetic, upbeat person, so I would think that would just generally make things trend positive. I don't think this would have grabbed you, so actually, I'm going to guess 5 to slightly below 5 for you. So those are my predictions. I'll pass the baton over to Katie.
Now, see, Ryan, I think, appreciated the cinematography and all the background details that went into it, but story-wise, I think he was wanting more. So I'm going to go with medium well, ranging like 6-7 or so. Muhammad, I think you're probably, middle of the road. It has potential, but at the same time, it was kind of, I don't know, maybe not your speed quite yet. And Darth, I think you probably have it more as like a 3-ish, 4-ish, on the lower end of the scale, just because it's not quite the Star Wars that we're used to. And that may or may not be a thing that vibes well on television.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm talking out of my head. Yeah.
Now, Darth, do you have any predictions for us?
Well, mine is kind of, I would say for everybody, kind of just across the board. I'm gonna say I feel like everyone. I'm not gonna say myself, but everyone is kind of middle of the road. Like nobody loved it, nobody hated it, and I'm sure that everybody found little bits here and there that kind of redeemed it, made it worth a watch, but nobody's really like, oh, I can't wait to see where they're going with this. That's my prediction for everybody.
I can't help but feel like when Darth says, I feel like everybody kind of felt this way, he's just saying what he felt. That's just, could be wrong there. We'll see.
He's an empathic guy.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Deanna Troy. All right, so everybody at home, we gave you a lot of hints. However, those hints may not be correct. So make your own predictions. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Muhammad liked it? What about Katie? What about number one Star Wars fan, Darth F.S. Schuhe? And as Muhammad said, you can tell a Star Wars fan how big of a Star Wars fan they are by how much they don't like Star Wars for some reason.
except for the original 3 movies.
Yeah, or the original
and the Clone Wars
1. All right. So make your predictions now. Go ahead and type them away feverishly in the live chat or in the comments below. And while you're doing that, Dr. Muhammad Noor is going to buy you a little bit of time and buy Darth some time to drink his hot cocoa by telling us all what this story is even about.
Man, now I want hot cocoa too, Darth. So, in this prequel to Rogue One, Cassian Andor shows up on a planet looking for his missing sister. He gets into a brawl with some bully officers from Premor, an Empire-adjacent organization, and ends up killing them. Amidst a few childhood flashbacks, Cassian spends the rest of the episode trying to develop an alibi, cover his tracks, and sell a valuable commodity to get money to go into hiding. He gets help on this last piece from Bix, who appears to be maybe an ex of his. Meanwhile, the deputy inspector Premor seems intent on finding out who killed these officers, despite his boss telling him to drop it, and his subordinates not being so excited to help.
Poignant.
Man, that was a great recap. That was a real great recap.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Darth's like, if only the show were that good, huh, Darth?
Yeah, huh? They need to pay attention to feel it a little better.
So everybody, don't worry. If you're still typing away, you still have a little bit of time, but we're going to start giving you bigger hints as to whether we liked it or not in a segment Muhammad likes to call
Expectations, where we spend a little bit of time on what you expect and a lot of time on what you actually get. Before I get out my aggressions, I'm sorry, Darth. was aiming for Katie. No, it wasn't. I swear.
No, I wasn't. I did it on purpose.
Is this the nod? Wow, Muhammad, way to go. Finally, he admits it. He's like, nobody can be that pleasant all the time. I'm calling you out. All right. Well, both of you guys are actually.
Honestly, yes.
Scary.
Scientific optimists.
And Darth and I are the opposites. So it's like we're create this symbiotic yin and yang, the four of us.
All you guys are very
Cisco and Ebert.
All right. So let's compare and contrast what we expected versus what we actually got. Muhammad, start us off since you're the boxer of the group. What did you expect only before watching? Oh,
that's good. So this is a funny one because I was pretty sure I had seen just the first episode of this before with my family, but I had no recollection of it. Like none. I literally remembered absolutely nothing about it. Like I couldn't remember what the plot was. I didn't even remember who Andor was. Even though I'd seen Rogue One and I liked it, I actually didn't remember anything. So I actually came into this one like it's a completely new show. As I started watching, I remembered, oh yeah, I have seen this. But I think I just watched it a long time with my family, and then like it was probably over Christmas time and we got busy, and then they did other stuff, and I just forgot, and it just fell off my radar, and I just completely lost it. But I knew it was a Star Wars thing. I knew it was adjacent to Rogue One, but that was about all I came in, even though this is the second time I watched the first.
Wow.
Yeah.
Katie, before you watched this first episode of Andor, what did you expect, if anything?
Well, I didn't expect much, actually. I remember seeing Rogue One in theaters when it came out and just being like, okay. And I kind of had to look it up before watching. I was like, okay, how does this fit in? So I didn't have many expectations going in, and I just thought, see where this goes. So, yeah. And it went.
It certainly went.
Yeah.
Darth,
successfully watch it.
What about you? What did you expect before watching this first episode, if anything? And let us know if you went too.
It went. Well, I like the way Muhammad came into it, like not really kind of remembering much about, or that it was connected to Rogue One. That would have been a cool. I feel like I came in at kind of the exact opposite, because I was thinking, man, this is such an interesting. This to me seems like the most appeal that this show has. Is like this is a really interesting time in this story. You know, the building of the rebellion and everything, and how does this guy become a spy? What is he, like a turncoat? You know, and there's got to be a lot of intrigue, and there's a lot of potential for some cool spy stories and stuff. So I feel like it's more the intrigue of what the potential that they can do with this character in these stories that I feel like is more the appeal. You know, you're like, whoa, oh, this Cassian Andor, whoa, what's his deal? You know, how does he join the rebellion and all that? So I guess that's kind of what I was expecting. And the thing I do like is it's a very slow burn. Easy, I know, but that's what I got, was that it's a slow burn.
Wait, hang on, don't tell us what you got just yet.
Oh, sorry, expectations. That's what I was expecting then. Only remember that.
Just this
only
part,
that.
this part yet.
I've already deleted it. Right
all
click,
right,
not left.
It was funny because I was like, oh, wait, no. And he's like, no, wait, watch. I'm just telling you what I got. That's all. Don't worry. Hang on. Well, I'll tell y'all what I expected before I watched it, if I may. I feel like a lot of people were talking about this show like, oh my God, the Andor finale or the Andor, you know, there's always something. There's always something with Star Wars shows and Star Trek shows that are just out trending, you know, out there. People are talking about it. I think that's what it is. Mandalorian's also a big one like that, where everybody's talking about it. Same thing with Boba Fett, Book of Boba. Anyway, so I feel like this was another one of those. Maybe I just imagined it. Hadn't seen it, didn't know anything about it. I did think it might be possibly related to Rogue One, because I think maybe this was a guy that was in Rogue One. Must have been preceding it, because if I remember correctly, it can't be a sequel to it if there's the same guy.
That's correct.
I recall correctly.
I remember liking Rogue One very much. One of my favorite Star Wars movies, in fact. And especially, but I don't remember much about it. Like, I don't remember this guy. So, I don't remember him. I remember there were 6 characters, and I really liked the lead actress. I thought she was fantastic. Whoa, Darth fell.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all really nothing.
They're kind of generic characters.
And I like Star Wars generally because it's rad. But that's what we expected. Dr. Muhammad Noor, what did you actually get?
Yeah, I mean, I just a little bit too expected because since you remind me of this, I have a friend who actually is not a particularly big Star Wars fan, and she said, "Oh, the series is great." She was really big on that too, and like you too, I really liked Rogue One. That was probably one of my favorites of the movies. This was boring as heck. I have to say, I was not surprised at all that I'd forgotten it completely. Like what? I have almost no notes. Like what?
Yeah, they're invisible.
Well, there's almost nothing there. I mean, I actually stretched. I appreciate what Darth said. That was a great summary. I was stretching to try to put more because I feel like you could summarize the entire episode in a sentence. Like he went to a bar and got in trouble, and then now people are after him. Like that's kind of the whole thing. It was the most insubstantive show I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, must be a super slow burn, huh?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's true that wasn't the longest episode. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a fair point. Yeah, it wasn't it's not like it was 60 minutes of nothing. It was more like 30 minutes of one thing. So, yeah, I didn't come away. I mean, I definitely understood why I'd forgotten it after I watched the episode.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess there was setup a little bit, but again, I feel like the setup could have been in under 10 minutes as opposed to how long it was. So, anyway, I'll pass the baton. We can go into more detail after other people speak.
Yeah, what do you think, Katie? What did you actually get upon viewing this first episode of this fantastic show?
Not a lot. I'm with Muhammad on this one because the first bit of the show went by and I just started thinking to myself, how many words per minute is going on in this show? And so I kind of the words went in and out and I just started seeing how many yellow shirts I could recognize because for some reason my mind immediately was like, that's a lot of yellow vests. And so then I just started playing Where's Waldo while taking in 4 words per minute. So
wow.
Yeah.
Now we all have to go back and rewatch that for the yellow vests.
Yeah.
It's fun. There's a lot.
I don't want to go watch it again though.
Yeah.
Muhammad, no, you're giving too many hints away.
Not the same one, not the second.
I know.
It's not the same one.
Darth Schuhe, your thoughts. What did you actually get, and what was your final tally on yellow shirts?
Well, I will comment on the yellow because it was enough to notice where I was like, there's a heck of a lot of people wearing yellow. And then I started thinking, no, you'll never see a main character in Star Wars wearing yellow. It's only background guys. You'll see a bunch of background guys wearing really loud yellow. But what did I get? Yeah, I guess I kind of gave it away already. A super, super slow burn, just a very slow pace. It's like if you weren't already a fan or you weren't already curious about Andor and the character in that time period, I don't really know what would really hook you. What part of the story would really grab you.
Okay. Sorry, I thought there was more coming.
Yeah, I realized that.
That's what we thought through the whole show.
Yeah, there you go.
This guy gets it. Well, I'll tell you what I got. What I got was actually the best start to a Star Wars series I've seen so far. Wow. April Fools.
I'm going to say, if you watch
there we go.
What I got...
May 4th, right?
Yeah, what I got was a show that wasn't really bad because there was nothing bad about it. There just really wasn't. There wasn't anything good. There was one thing good, actually. And I will divulge that later. So stick around for that. Yeah, overall, I was kind of a little surprised that it felt like nothing was happening. It felt like it didn't really feel like Star Wars, or it didn't feel like a Star Wars story. It felt like there was just a story in Star Wars. And it felt like if this were not a Star Wars script, if this were just a regular script of its own show, a producer would just knock it off their desk and say, this is not, there's nothing, what am I going to do with this? And I feel like it suffered from what I like to call, now I have to come up with a term off the top of my head. It suffers from, the existing franchise problem, which is they feel very comfortable with this slow burn. They're not trying to hook you. They're not trying to entertain you. They're not trying to get you in because they're like, hey, it's Star Wars. They're going to fucking watch it. Or it's the Hunger Games, or it's Star Trek, or it's Lord of the Rings. They know
Potter.
They're going to watch it. We don't have to fight for their attention in that first episode. Anyway, so that's what I got. I'll just tell you real quick what I really liked. That droid was very charming.
Yeah.
The one that was like all crumply and stuff.
Yeah. What's his name? B2 Emo.
Emo?
That's what it said. Emo.
Oh, that's so cute. And the reason I thought, and then when he was being so charming and cute, I kind of found myself thinking, wow, that's got to be really tough for them to be, the writers, for them to be constantly reinventing droid types and personalities that are still always interesting and cute and charming and fun, because they can't be like human personalities. They have to have kind of their own flavor of personality. And that's got to be really tough. And I feel like they succeeded very well in creating a new droid type and personality. And I thought that was excellent. Everything else?
Hey, that's a one good thing, though,
My favorite scene from it was that interaction between what was the name of the guy, the deputy director or whatever, with his boss.
I could never figure out his name either. What was his name? The lieutenant. He was the only one. What's his name?
I don't know what his name is.
Shoot.
I just remember Casa, and that's it. There are no memorable names or anything.
That's the other one I remember. But anyway, the deputy director with his boss, I like some of the things where he's like, did you alter your uniform? He's like, I did some light tailoring.
That was great. Yeah.
I agree. That was the best scene.
Because his comments about the murders, we'll call it a regrettable misadventure. Let's write something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way.
I wrote that out. Those two lines. The first one being, nothing too heroic. We don't want a parade. And he says something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way. I wrote, excellent. That was the best moment of the show.
The only lines I wrote down in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Really good.
I definitely think that was the best part.
Really? Did you guys like the lieutenant guy, the deputy, as a character?
Mildly humorous.
Yeah, I do, He's a good heavy, he's a good, what do you call, heel,
He's doing his job, and you can't fault him for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very driven,
He's dutiful but inspiring in a mundane sort of way.
Yes. We should have said Andor was dutiful but inspiring in a mundane sort of way. That should have been the opening.
Maybe that was like a note. Maybe that was an executive note that they got.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's put that in.
Maybe that line was super meta. They're like, just like this show.
Yeah.
Darth, did you have a favorite character?
I guess I kind of found those guys entertaining, and the robot, probably, the robot. But otherwise, they're all kind of passable, good enough. They're Star Wars characters from a very, just Rogue One has some very, passable characters, too. So it's a land of the bland characters.
Land of the bland. Everybody mark in your calendars. This is officially the first time a huge Star Wars fan has called a droid a robot.
I noticed that too, actually.
Usually they get mad if you say robot. They're like, it's a droid, dick, and you know it. Katie,
I'm imagining him as like a real mechanical thing, like that he's operating, he's like an accordion, he's moving up and down, and he's always moving parts.
And Darth works with robots where he works, in fact.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Do you call it a robot or a droid?
I should start calling it a droid, huh? It's a droid, yeah. The droid you're looking for.
Katie, did you have a favorite character?
Oh, not entirely.
At least the unfavorite character.
The guy in the junkyard with the dog rat things. Kind of just like,
nice. Oh, those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him. I would like to see more of him just because he had a I don't really care anymore attitude. So
I think those dogs are in the Han Solo movie. I think those beasts,
really?
those things.
Really?
They look the same. Yeah.
I was calling them hog dogs.
Yeah. They're fun. Can't tell if they just slap something on a dog or a hog or if it's like 100% CG. Yeah.
You know what I wanted? I wanted, speaking of those guys and the emo droid, I wanted his conversation with the droid, and I was expecting it, but they didn't do it. At the end of his conversation, when the droid was like, "Oh, I have to go recharge," I was expecting him to say, "He's like, okay, cool, thanks. By the way, you stink." Because he got.
I was waiting for that too, because he was really close to it too.
Yeah. I totally thought that. How did they miss that? The dog
would have been a great line. Yeah.
By the way, you stink or something. Anyway,
what do you just done something?
Yeah.
What do you think, Muhammad? Did you have a favorite character as well?
I guess B2 emo. I mean, in terms of the human characters, I think that lieutenant guy was, it's not somebody who I would like, but it was at least was mildly interesting as a character to watch. But like, there was no substance, or there was nothing developed in terms of Bix Drumian or Cassian even, or anything. That's like kind of like not even sure why he's looking for his sister. Like, what happened to her? I mean, which I understand is probably what's supposed to like draw us into the rest of the show, but it didn't catch me enough to
catch me outside.
Yeah.
I found Bix personally to be very interesting.
Which one was that one? Oh, the lady, his ex.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, she was very. She caught my interest very much. So
different kind of interest there. I see.
No. I mean, like it accrued. So that's a financial joke for everybody there. Not a great one. But yeah, I also thought it was a great idea to give the lieutenant guy that kind of depth, because in that he's going against orders. So he's not just the standard mustache twirling villain. Yeah. He's a guy that is also, great villains, is a hero in his own mind. He's not just the guy that's like, it would be all too easy to just say, okay, here's the bad guy. The bad guy's trying to catch them. The corporation's trying to catch them. But they're creating drama within that main bad guy, and that he's actually going against orders by doing his job properly. In a way.
And the underlings like snicker at him and stuff. Like, it's a real interesting dynamic that he deals with. Like, you could see he just deals with opposition from every angle in his life. Looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes for a good bad guy.
A little bit more of a sympathetic. Yeah, that does kind of have me a little intrigued,
See, that was your favorite, Darth. I knew it. Do you guys have any favorite moments, or moments that were not your favorites?
I already said mine. That interaction with the boss guy.
Yeah.
The guy eating the blue noodles.
Oh yeah.
I wrote down blue ramen in my thing too.
Yeah.
There was some fun, definitely some fun aliens for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The one guy was just, he told me to just stand here.
Yeah, vetch.
Okay, you keep doing that.
Vetch.
And then he just takes off.
Yeah. Dart, did you have any favorite moments or things that you'll be writing about in your diary later?
No, my negative note, I guess, about the flashbacks. Those were the scenes, the flashbacks when he was a little kid, which I guess where Cassie comes from, like his whatever his kid nickname. There's just, I mean, I guess now upon rewatching it, you can tell what's going on, based on what you see. But yeah, you can't understand these people. There's no
subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah. So it's like, what the hell am I watching? So that's a tough one to watch late at night when you're trying to watch a show and it's.
I was wondering, did they actually develop a language, or were they just telling the actors, okay, use these sounds, we aren't going to explain it, so it's fine.
I'll bet you it's the former.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Nerds
Star
love
Wars.
that kind
That's
of
a
stuff.
very
Yeah.
established franchise. I doubt they just like, make
Yeah.
up stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, that's what I was hoping, but there's a little scratch in the back of my mind. Like, they aren't explaining it.
That if they don't pronounce
so-
it perfectly, it's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody will know. They're like, just say, is it ballet or ballet? Don't worry, just whatever.
No,
Just say
whatever,
your
yeah.
thing. Just say your line.
Yeah, I'm like, the fourth take, they're like, just say whatever. And they're like, that actually sounds better than the language we have. Like,
Yeah,
throw it
yeah.
in there. Why not?
Mhm. That's the way to live life, I think.
Well, you, Ryan, did you have a favorite moment?
Oh yeah. I guess the ones that we've covered, boy, that is sad. 42 minutes, and there was just, really only a couple highlights. I liked the close-ups on Bix's face. I thought those were very interesting. I liked those hog dogs, and I liked really, really again enjoyed the droid and the personality they put into it. Not just the personality of the voiceover, but on top of that, also the lines they wrote for it, the animation, or the how it moved, and and all that kind of stuff. But then also the problems with it, the fact that it, can I tell you a lie, or can you hold a secret, or something like that? And then he says two things. He says, that's two secrets, or can you lie for me? That's two lies. He says, well, let's make it two. And he says, okay, I'll have to recharge first, which is really funny that he's got such a low battery or low battery capacity that if he's going to have two lies, he has to recharge. All of those things put in together really created like a world for this one droid, which I thought was really, really commendable. I wish they put that much effort into this first episode as a whole. And then the other thing was just that head in charge guy. What was his name? The corporate security, Kravis.
He was good.
No, Kravis is the lieutenant, I believe, and I don't remember who. So Kravis is anyway. His boss was great. I feel like there was one more thing. Brasso saying, you've come here to apologize. I accept your apology. That was fine. Damn, there was one more thing, but I don't remember anymore because there were so many.
I think we've covered all my notes at this point.
Gosh.
He killed that one guy with the headbutt. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, how? He just boom, and he's like, well,
I'm dead now.
It seems like when he hit the ground that he hit something, and that's what killed him.
Yeah.
It wasn't the actual headbutt per se.
Like
There was like a screw sitting out in that,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there was a roofing nail, and it just went straight through his ear.
Oh, that was my other question. At some point, and this is just an observation, I'm not a hater, but why does everybody have an English accent in this show? What's going on here?
Lieutenant guy, right?
They must have shot this in England.
Like a Scottish accent.
Yeah, they must. Whatever.
Yeah,
they must
have
shot this. They must have shot this in the UK. They must have, because everybody has some form of a UK accent. Otherwise, I don't understand it.
When we watched Rogue One, my daughter was with me, and she was like, "Why does that guy have like a Spanish accent? Is he from like Space Spain or something?"
Yeah, that's it.
So I thought, first couple scenes, I was like, oh, British accents, that's cool. That's kind of like the original Star Wars had some people with English accents. I love that, different accents and all that. But then after a while, I was like, everybody has a British accent. What's going on here? What's this British propaganda going on?
You found a British colony in space, basically.
But everybody all over anyway, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, they can use any accent they want from all over the world, right? There's like super international. You like a Swedish accent, Irish accent,
South African.
But then you have the guy, what's his name, playing Finn in The Force Awakens. Why did they make him they forced him to, he has a British accent, and they forced him to have an American accent.
Right.
It makes no sense. They're like,
hey, no British accents in Star Wars, bro.
Yeah.
And he's even an Imperial. Like, what the hell? It makes zero sense.
You tell him, Darth. So,
did he just want to practice his American accent, maybe, or what?
Speaking of you tell him, Darth, you tell us, Katie, what's new with you?
Oh, what's new with me? Well, we're heading into tornado season. It's already been active for a lot of the U.S., but it gets more active in Michigan here as we go towards summer. So kind of vibing with that and still working on a couple projects in the background whenever I get time, which is not very often.
You've been to some conventions lately too, right?
I have. Yeah, this is my year of Comic-Con because I've been to C2E2 in Chicago and Grand Rapids Comic-Con already. Then there's Capital City Con, Motor City Con, Indy Con, Cincinnati Con, Galaxy Con Columbus, and like all of these cons that I'm going to just to see the Star Trek people because Todd Stashwick is going to be at the Columbus Con and I have to meet him. He was so nice after the car crash and I just want to thank him in person. So that's on my radar in December.
That's awesome. What are some of your favorite cosplays? I know you had that epic macrovirus one at Vegas last year. That was amazing.
I love the macrovirus cosplay. I'm actually working on an alternate version of it. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work with drones so I don't have to have it on a wire. So it'll just kind of float around me on like a person-centric course, a little orbit. But that's posing more difficult than you'd imagine. And I'm working on an Andorian cosplay too. And it turns out Andorians have the phaser rifles like the Federation, and you can 3D print them. So,
where are Andorians from?
Andoria.
Andor.
Andor.
No.
I know.
That's the show. I don't cross the streams. Things cross the stream.
When you said having that macrovirus following, I was imagining the Mandalorian Grogu egg. Exactly. Have one of those on
Exactly.
That'd be a fun one.
That'd be amazing.
I'm working on Mando armor too. There's a line on my 3D printer now how we're gonna print things out. So that's on the radar.
Now you totally need to make one of those. That I think everybody will want that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Start a little side hustle.
Yeah.
Exactly. My poor little Ender V3 printer in the basement is just like, kill me.
What about show-wise? What shows are you working on right now?
I actually just started a rewatch of Deep Space Nine on accident.
On accident?
Is that a new app called Accident?
Yes. No, I was rewatching Picard and it just went to a first episode of Deep Space Nine. I was like, yeah, sure. I'm on my exercise bike trying to get in shape. Sure. We'll just watch that. And it just kept going. I'm like, okay, season 2. We're good. Let's keep vibing. 1,400 calories later. So going. Yeah, that's now my daily exercise show. So
are you recording any shows right now on YouTube too?
You know, we do have the So Many Random Phantoms channel with the Order of the Blue Lotus, but Brandy got a new job and I'm still in like the whole recovery phase and schedules aren't working. So we're going to try to get a stream out before summer. That's what we tell ourselves.
Is it back to Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yes, you have the Air Nomads.
The Air Nomads?
They're not all dead.
Who are they?
Yes. Oh, the best. The absolute best. Have you watched the first Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah, we
did.
Yeah, right?
Yes, you have. I remember seeing it pop up. I'm like, do I want to judge my friends on how they judge the show?
Your name was mentioned.
I don't think I want to.
Trying to see. Oh, there it is. So everybody at home, if you'd like to know what we thought of Avatar: The Last Airbender, check out WTF episode number 83. Our very special guest was Desmond Peck. That's Desmond Peck.
I feel like with that, you have to watch the first and then watch the last too.
And that was with
the last one. Whew, that last one. It's got what's his name? Speaking of Star Wars, it's got Mark Hamill as the Fire King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was with co-host Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, right? You didn't do that one, Mohammed, but you kept suggesting.
No, I was in the chat.
Yeah. Feverishly typing away in the chat.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Any other projects or productions you are thinking about or working towards, Katie?
Well, Let's see. I'm thinking about applying to be on Wheel of Fortune, but as far as my control of things, we
That
are
would be
still
cool.
working on a video on how to do your first Comic-Con and how to go and not be intimidated or overwhelmed. Because a lot of times when I ask people if they've ever been to a con, they say no because they don't know what to do. So just trying to make it more open. So
Very
we're
cool.
slowly sifting through about 12 hours of footage at the moment to put that together.
Wow.
Wow. Wow is right, Darth. Well, let's move
Wow,
forward.
with me.
So actually, before we
Very
move on, so many random fandoms on YouTube, and how do we find you on other socials?
Yes, I am also weather_Katie on Twitter for the time being, Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook and TikTok, of course, where I do live streams during my weather broadcasts early in the morning, so you can wake up to this.
Thank you.
There it is. I was waiting for the hand gesture. It's time for the terrible twos, everybody. This is it. Darth calls it the terrible twos, and that's
bottom line.
the way it goes.
That's
People who like Avatar: The Last Airbender call it the bottom line.
Yeah,
nicely done.
Darth, have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I have, yeah. I even started watching some of the spin-off one, whatever it was.
Legend of Korra.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But no, I finished Last Airbender. Yeah, it was fun. Very cool.
Somebody is quoted as saying, "This show, Avatar, this show is for babies." We won't tell you who said that, but somebody said this show is for babies.
Repeatedly, not even just once.
Darth might be able to guess whose voice that sounds like. And by voice, I mean personality voice, like a writer's way of doing voices.
We still love that person, though.
Some. All right. Here we go.
Mike?
It's a good guess, but who knows?
Gotta watch to find out, I guess.
Well, that's WTF number 83. Here we go. Final two questions of the show. Fun's over. It's time to get to work. Question number one is, Dr. Muhammad Noor, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Andor?
No slash. What I wrote down on my piece of paper, which I guess I'll stick with, is 4.0. It was underwhelming. I love the Star Wars universe. I love Rogue One. This idea of seeing maybe the birth of the rebellion, which actually is not even clear that that's what that's heading for, but I read online later that's what that's heading for. That actually sounds very appealing. There's some setup there. The cinematography is good. The droid is good. but the episode, man.
What about you, Katie? Thumbs down, thumbs up, scale of 1 to 10?
It gets a solid 3.2, maybe. Just because when you get to the lower end of my ranking scale, you have to make me angry that I wasted time watching it. I was very, very indifferent with this. Like, it's a show to eat up some time. It's fine. 3.2.
Kill some time.
Darth, you love to eat up time, right? What did you give this on a scale of 1 to 10? Actually, fun fact, everybody. Darth's favorite pastime is doing laundry. He loves doing laundry. It's the weirdest thing. He loves it. He's got like 7 different products that he puts in there. It's like a soup. It's amazing.
Ooh.
Anyway,
sorry. It smells good. Oh, it smells good. I just wanted to say that what's it called? You'll never see. Somebody needs to take a screenshot of Muhammad doing this, because I don't think you'll ever see him with a double thumbs down.
You're so right. People are going to think that we inverted it somehow.
That's Photoshop. I swear.
Yeah, I could tell that's really his left hand on his right.
Yeah. Oh, you're kind, Darth.
See, there you go.
You get 2 thumbs up.
Aww.
Damn, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I want to give it high marks, and it's like I feel like it's like trying to look at something objectively, and I still feel like, what is that? The Star Wars fan kind of goggles. Like, I feel like that's the only thing I really like about it. Like, it has just enough Star Wars stuff in it, but is it enough to redeem it? I'm gonna say 4, maybe. Let's go 4. And that's a generous 4. But
That's kind of what I felt about mine too.
Yeah.
It's a very generous 4.
Yeah.
Wow. It is rare that we all agree on something. And so it will continue to be rare because this is going to be a difference of opinion. I actually, when I watched this, I wrote in my notes a number. And that number is also a 4. That's amazing. When Muhammad said, I was like, wow, I'm surprised Muhammad and I have the exact same score, 4.0. And then Katie did 3.2. And I'm like, wow, and Darth did 4. Like, we are just all right there.
4.
We're all right there.
And I agree that for me, the way I worded it was not so much a generous 4, but that if it weren't Star Wars, it would be a 2 for me.
That's right.
Yeah,
what I liked most about it was that, it's still Star Wars. It's there's still aliens back there. Yeah. There's still droids. It's still on the planets that we love, that feel. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it would be like a 2. And not that it's bad. There's just not really much there. It's like eating a bread sandwich. Bread's fine.
Yes.
It'll fill you up, and bread is good, but we also want things in there that, Anyway, so that's the end of question number 1, everybody. So sorry, but question number 2 is the toughie. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Andor, but now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Dr. Muhammad Noor, of your own volition, would you watch the second episode?
I think I've already done that experiment. I saw the first and I never followed up. I forgot about it. So I think we've already done the experiment, but no.
Forced to watch it again.
Yeah. The second watch didn't make me more excited to watch the second.
Didn't do it the second time either.
Wow. So it's a no from Mo, huh?
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Katie?
No. There's so many other things that I could spend my time on.
Yeah, Voyager for one.
Exactly.
DS9,
Voyager, DS9.
Yeah.
Picard episode 10 on a loop over and over and over again.
Whoa, is that good, huh? Damn.
Darth, wow, look at you. Do you agree with them, or are you saying no, it's freaking Star Wars, you guys are all haters?
Well, if I was going by this episode, I would probably say no. But one thing I will say that's makes me want to watch the show, maybe this will do it for you guys too, but Andy Serkis plays some new character at some point on the show. I don't know if he has just his like a little tiny little
really
part
badass.
Right? I mean, that's kind of intriguing right there. So it makes me feel like, damn, I should try and stick through it at least until he pops up the show, Little Andy Serkis action.
Now, the way I translate that, first of all, Andy Serkis is really, really high up there in like the nerd fandom because of Marvel, because of Lord of the Rings, because of Star Wars. So he's one of the top dogs, I think. But Darth, what I'm hearing is that your answer was actually a no, because based on this first episode,
that's what
you would not watch the second. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Let the record show that Darth actually said, can you read that back for us, please?
Yes, Corksnographer.
Wow. Surprised to hear you say that. I really thought I was going to be the only person, but it's also a no for me. It's a 4 and a no. And we are very much in agreement on everything. I thought that you guys would still like it somewhat. I thought maybe I was just missing what was great about it.
I thought Katie might, but I thought the rest of you guys probably wouldn't.
Yeah. Normally I would, but man, my ADHD brain like paused for a second. It's like, if it can make me stop, then it's a little too slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody at home, let us know. But it gets better. You have to watch it.
Sure it does.
Or yeah, I didn't watch it after the first episode either. Or you guys should stick to Star Trek, nerds. Whatever it is, let us know in the comments below and tell us what you thought of this show, or tell us if we've successfully convinced you to watch this show. But besides that,
sure.
Yeah, right.
If you'd like us to review something in the comments below, just make that suggestion. Remember, Fantasy Month is now. So if you'd like us to review fantasy shows, give us those suggestions in the comments below and where we can watch them. And it should be a really fun month because I freaking love fantasy stuff. Happy May the 4th to all of you Star Wars nerds and everybody else that's not a Star Wars nerd. Happy May the 4th as well. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Give us a 5-star ratings if you're listening in. Leave us reviews. And that's about it. What I'm trying to say is this podcast was fun and or better than the show itself.
That's what I was going to say, too. This podcast was like 100 times better than this episode. So much fun with friends.
This podcast had at least 100,000 more words than the episode.
Yeah, this podcast was way more fun talking with you guys about it than it was actually watching it.
Rude.
Rude.
And everybody at home, if you have the translations for those scenes for Darth, please also comment that below so he could read that while he rewatches it and then go, actually, you guys, it's really good when you know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
So speaking of get it, everybody remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Don't forget to be an organ donor and don't forget to watch the first of things.
All right, everybody, freeze frame like that droid.
That shitty smile.